Okay, so in last class we have studied what is, your medical record, how we are going to store those things into, different location, into profiling or into this in hospital system setup. So how we arrange, either we arrange it by alphabetic wise, either we arrange by department wise, and what kind of panels and cabinets we use. Okay, in second method, if we are going to store those documents in same manner into, if I talk about e-profile or electronic media, so we are going to store all those documents or all those files into your computer system by same, categorization. Either we follow alphabetic categorization or department wise, year wise. In same manner, we store every record into our hospital. Okay, maximum we have to store, like minimum criteria is for 3 to 5 years, maximum you can go for 10 years, okay, depending upon the needs and what kind of document it is. Okay, so now moving towards another case that is known as your medical record, legal aspects of the medical record. Ki, what is the legal aspect and what is the need of this, so basically, if I talk about ki, which kind of cases will come under the medical legal cases, any idea? Do you have any idea ki, which kind of cases we consider under medical legal cases? So
Ma'am,
before going to the, yes, accident cases, very good. Any kind of assault, if I talk about rape cases or, sexual assaults will be considered under this category. Another, if I talk about, will be hit and run cases, accidents to RT, आप बोल रहे road trauma accident होता है. Other third cases by, if you want to do any kind of attempt to murder cases, then suicidal intentions, all these cases will be covered under your medical legal cases. So the medical legal cases are the integral part of the medical practices that is frequently encountered by the medical officers. Being a doctor, whenever we are practicing in our day-to-day life, we see all these cases very frequent. Okay, so in these cases, we need to record the medical legal aspects. Okay, because why we need to record everything and preserve, and we need to discuss with another, legal department why there is need, because they might be, the prime, the injury, the dresses, the wound, the blood stains, they might be sometimes become the evidence for that particular case. If you want to proceed that case into the courtroom for the justice point of view, and you don't preserve that, I can say those criminal aspects which will be present as in the form of blood stain, as in the form of trauma. So we need to preserve all those things for the, justice of that case when we are going into the this. So court. Okay. So the occurrence of MNC on the increase both in civil as well as in armed forces. The proper handling and the accurate documentation of these cases is of prime importance to avoid the legal complications. So whenever you are into the courtroom, you want to fight for any kind of justice or any kind of, you know, uh, basically for justice only, or you want to prove something into the front of another party. So these documentations or these things will be become, because after sometimes giving the treatment, the wound may heal. But for example, that wound has been described on a piece of paper or certain photographs will be taken. That becomes evidence or proof. Okay. So for that reason, we need to record everything for, evidence purpose, for proof purpose. Okay. So to avoid the legal complications and ensure that the next kin or receive the entitled benefits. So that I already explained you why we need it. Okay. So all the medical officers working in hospital, field, medical units, non-medical units encountered medical legal cases which should be handled in accordance with law of land and directive issued by the service headquarters. So, for example, being a doctor might be, I don't know if this part will be, being a doctor, I don't know what is, what kind of cases comes under medical legal cases, but I don't know what all things will be evidence. So for that, we need to report first to the any nearest police station or any nearest stations where these cops come. They take this statement, they take recording, everything, and then we proceed for the treatment. That is a legal procedure which I am telling you. Okay, but in case of emergencies also, we take MLCs into the, we had a MLC format forms in our hospitals. We take MLCs, we record the cases, and we proceed for the treatment. So MLC in medical practices is defined as any cases of injury or alignment where the attending doctor, after taking the history, taking the clinical examination, considered that the investigation by law informed uh, enforcement agencies and also superior military authorities are warranted to the a certain circumstances and to fix the responsibility regarding and said injury or alignment according to or by the law. So I told you already कि any case injury जहाँ पे आपको लगता है, I told you like accident हो गया आपका, attempt to murder हो गया, suicidal intentions हो गई, ठीक है? तो where we are going to record everything. Okay, once we record the medical legal format, case, we had a case sheet, a medical legal case sheet. There we draft everything, whatever the patient said, whatever we found. Okay, normally how we record the case history into the patient. In that manner, we record it, and same time when we found it suspected, this case might be a medical legal case. So what our first prime concern is we need to contact the nearby stations or the the authorities, law authorities, or the if it is a case of military, we need to inform the superior military authorities and they need to come and check there. So if I talk about state authorities or normal civilian cases, the police, they had a different laws. If I talk about armed forces, militarians and everything, they had a different laws and clause. Okay, so depending upon what kind of cases, we inform the concerned authority. Okay, and whatever the as per the law, if this usually the law says ki if someone is needed and they need to be treated, that is our prime concern, and we have to treat them. So we will do that. Okay. So labeling the cases as MNC, RMO, casual medical officer, medical officer in charge of MI room, medical duty officers, medical officer in charge of what, who is attending that patient or that cases. So what do you mean by the legal cases? Okay. So the medical legal cases is something that improves both medical legal aspects, mainly the medical uh, jurisprudence, a branch of medicine or medical law or branch of law. Okay. So basically, if I talk about, in general, so in laws also, we had a medical law, basically a branch that is like we have a civil laws, we have, domestic laws, we have state level laws. So everything varies. Okay, so a definite branch, a defined branch of medical science law, where the all the medicine related, what kind of laws, what all things, because you know whenever we are working into hospital setup, we also need to follow certain things. We also need to follow certain criteria. Why it is so? Because it defines, defined by the law. Being a doctor, what is our role and responsibility? Being a patient, what is their role and responsibility? And we have to follow that. If these laws were not there, what happens? Any can do anything. Okay, as per their mood, as per their demand. So, in order to preserve everyone's rights, in order to preserve everyone, you know, and the proper functionality of a channel, there is a set of law. Law is like governing body. Okay, so in every department, if I talk about corporate, if I talk about hospital, if I talk about clinic, if I talk about pharma industry, if I talk about healthcare industry, if I talk about any electricity department, every department has their own laws, law body, and they have to work according to that. certain set of law. And in general, if I talk about what is law, the law is basically, I can say, a defined force which works to, to check everything should be done in proper manner and there is no injustice while performing that particular function or while performing that particular process. Okay. So the medical legal cases can be defined by the cases of injury or alignment. Might be कि आपका shoulder dislocation हो गया, आपको एक स्टैब वुंड है, और आपको मतलब हैवी वुंड है, हैवी इंजरी है, in which the investigation by law enforcement agencies are essential to fix the responsibility regarding the causation. So, hit and run ka case मैंने कहा कि you're driving and someone hit you and you just call that traffic police or PCR, they come and record why it is so, because there you see कि one party is claiming that this person has hit me and I'm suffering from this kind of pain or something like that. So what happens basically, there is an injury or alignment. Okay. So because of that, that one person has suffered. So in order to give justice to that person, the whole process has been set up. Otherwise, what happens? People will kill other people when they are doing driving, and if there is no set of laws, they don't feel any guilty. So in order to provide everyone, justice. That's why these laws have been set up. In simple language, it is a medical cases with legal implications for attending doctor, where the attending doctors, after collecting the history and examining the patient, thinks that some investigation by law enforcement agencies is essential. Okay. So what happens basically, every case, मतलब आपको every case will not become your medical legal cases. Okay. What happens where the severe injuries are there? Okay, severe, or the motive was very severe. In that scenario, that cases will be turned into the medical legal cases after investigation. The first person who is going to contact after the injury is your doctors. Once the patient reaches to the hospital, doctor reaches patient reaches to the doctor. He will investigate and check what is the current scenario, what all things. They will check, inform, and if needed, okay, the law agencies have to be involved. They will definitely involve them during this process. So, what are the incidences will come under the MLC? What incidents will come under the assaults and battery, including domestic violence and child abuse? I told you any kind of abuse, any kind of harassment will come under this. Accidents like road traffic accident, RTAs, whatever RTA will be there, or industrial accident, means you're working at some place and might be due to the fault of machinery or due to the fault of anything you suffered, or you lose your any organ, that will come under these cases. Cases of trauma with suspicion of foul play. Matlab, the patient got injured, but we found that this has been done. This trauma he received is done intentionally. So that will be electrical injuries, poisoning, alcohol intoxication, undiagnosed comas. All these cases will be considered under your MLCs. Okay. So burns, scals, sexual offenses, and criminal abortions. Okay, and next will be your attempt to suicide cases, in cases of anaphylaxis as a result of hanging. Okay, or custodial death maybe happens, death in operation theater or death on table will be also considered as under the case of MLC. Ki why, what is the reason, whether doctor is responsible or what's the cause. Okay, or death due to snake bite, animal bite, firearms injuries, or drug overdose, drug abuse, death brought to the accident and emergency department or MI room and found death. So all these cases will be considered under your MNC cases. Okay, so these are the set of cases I'm giving you over here. Example, ki what all cases will be considered under your medico legal cases. Okay, So what are the incidents not come under medical legal cases? I means this is a set of incidences, but there are certain criteria which are not covered under your medical legal cases. Means battle casualty. If you are into any kind of battle, if you are into it may be XYZ factors, and if you are there and battle accidents are not to be reported under MLC. Okay, the medical cases of death in these cases, however, certified by RMO. तो आपका जो भी रीजनल मेडिकल ऑफिसर है या जो भी ऑफिसर है वो ऑब्टेन करेगा, वो चेक करेगा एंड सर्टिफाई करेगा. ओके, सो कि व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ दिस, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट वी विल डिसाइड. ओके, policy intimation, the police intimation, sorry, policy intimation, I'm saying. The police intimation under section 39 of criminal procedure code, the attending MO is legally bound to inform the police about the arrival of MLC. I told you कि whenever during the process initially I told you कि whenever any medical legal cases comes after the investigation done by the doctor and he suspected if this case is turning into, or any point he feels that this is a medical legal case, what is his prime concern? He need to inform the nearby police station. Okay, that is a legally bound procedure. Okay, and any failure to report the occurrence of MLC may invite the prosecution under section 176 or 202 of IPC, and seriously information should be given by ADH stations or headquarters जो भी आपके होते हैं, military headquarters or military police headquarters, to concern by telephones you need to do, or communication should be irrevocably followed by the communication in written subsequently. So it doesn't mean कि आपने call कर दिया and everything will be sorted out. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपने call किया and आपको कोई response नहीं मिला, in that scenario what you need to do? You need to go to the higher authority. The higher authorities में आप call करेंगे, inform करेंगे, medical legal cases registered हुए. And second thing you need to do, what you need to do is, meanwhile you have to write a written uh, application, you can say, or written informed letter, you can say, informed letter you have to write to that concerned authorities or emails. Okay, so in case of discharge or transfer or death, such cases in hospital, the police should inform. Generally, three copies are available in the police intimation book. First copy to the nearest police station we have to do. Second copy to the incident where that particular thing has been occurred. For example, that patient has injured into some area of just take an example of some area of Dholakpur, that is a place into Delhi, okay, or Delhi camp, you can say. But he has been admitted to AIHMS, okay. So first we need to inform to the nearest police station that is near to your AIHMS. So AIHMS police station you need to. And second is incident is happening into the Dholakpur. So we need to inform to the second copy to the police of that particular incident area, that is Dholakpur station. Okay. Third copy of medical record or or in the police intimation book itself. तो जो भी इनका दिल्ली रीजन का हेडक्वार्टर होगा वहां पे आपको थर्ड कॉपी को इन्फॉर्म करना पड़ेगा या उनके पास स्टोर्ड में होना चाहिए एज कॉपी. So generally the three copies are available into the accident injury book and first copies to the nearest police station. So wherever the doctor is treating to that, whichever reason is nearest, you need to give that first copy. Okay. Usually we prepare three copies. Okay. So guideline for preservation of the medical records and legal evidence or foreign body handling over the procedures. So what we need to do basically, first is the medical legal evidence should be preserved. That I already told you. And subsequently sent or handled over the investigating authorities or forensic examination. Why it is done so? Because those, for example, they become evidence into the courtroom. Okay, so production as evidence into the court of law. Okay, so that I already told you, we need to preserve all those legal evidence. Okay, earlier we don't have photographs, so we we generally used to write, "Okay, we have seen this and this wound size at this location," and we find it and usually do, and that piece of paper or the medical record case history will be considered as a piece of evidence into the court of law. But nowadays we have photography, audiography, so we can do that also. Okay, so as a evidence will be identified, sealed and labeled properly. Okay, so whenever we are presenting all these medical records or documents into the court of law, we need to preserve them very properly. End to end, everything should be clear enough and properly informed or preserved. Okay, second thing, that should be labeled. For example, if I'm preserving a ultrasonography, I should label the ultrasonography of patient of this dated at this time after this incident. After 3 days, for example, the patient is coming and I'm preserving the document, or yeah, then I again recorded that. Okay, and everything will be sealed properly and labeled properly, and they will be kept into safe custody and hand over to the investigating officer. So safe custody, why it is so nobody can alter those documents, because those are the evidence. So that's why we need to, whoever is keeping those documents, we need to keep into the safe custody, so no one can alter those documents. Okay. And they will be kept into the safe custody and hand over to the investigating officer, or once collected or lost or distracted, the punishable offense. For example, the handling doctor will not able to handle the properly, or investigating officer will not able to handle those documents properly, so that will be considered as a punishable offense. Okay, failure to collect or loss as an such an exhibit a punishable offense under the section of 201 of IPC. Okay, so under this it will be punishable, and whatever may be the punishment, the court will uh, give their verdict to that particular person, whether whoever is at fault, whether that police department is at fault or medical department. So they need to suffer from that particular consequences. Okay, so usually we create a multiple copies. Okay. So the evidence required to be preserved in relation to the nature of cases, in injury cases, following articles should be preserved in sealed envelope. अब आपका कोई injury case है, what all documents we need to? So the clothing worn by that patient. Okay. Why clothing? That contains blood stains or tears or bullet holes or cuts, so all these will be evidence. Okay, कि आपका बुलेट है, तो बुलेट आप देखते होंगे आफ्टर सर्जरी क्या करते हैं यूजुअली इन केस ऑफ, डॉक्टर्स उनको प्रिजर्व करते हैं अगर मेडिको लीगल केसेस है तो। ठीक है, आपकी जो भी ड्रेसेस होंगी वो भी प्रिजर्व की जाएंगी, उन पे ब्लड स्टेन्स होगा वो भी प्रिजर्व करेंगे, फॉरेंसिक पीपल विल डू द एग्जामिनेशन एंड प्रिजर्व देम। In case of multiple tears, cuts or holes, each piece of evidence will be encircled. एक से ज्यादा multiple tears है, multiple holes है, हर को we used to put a mark on that. Okay, the piece of cloth that I am talking about, we will put a mark on that. Okay, so and number with matching description into the MLC report and case sheet. For example, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि एमएलसी रिपोर्ट में आप लिख रहे हैं कि 10 marks विल बी सीन ऑन द बॉडी, और 10 cuts विल बी सीन और 10 holes विल बी सीन ऑन द बॉडी, बट जब हम उसकी एमएलसी बना रहे हैं या केस समरी जो डॉक्यूमेंट डॉक्टर बना रहा है, वहां पे वो लिख रहा है 7, नहीं, both the case sheet and the MLC sheet have same story. We cannot tell the different story on both. Okay, so the documents here, whatever the documents, the case history or the inpatient documents or OPD documents, whatever the documents, both and the as meanwhile your medical records, both will have same story. Okay. Next is the bullet recovered from the body should be marked by etching an initial or mark from bottom before the preservation. So, आपका जो bullet recovered होगा body से should be marked by etching an initial or mark O bottom before the preservation. So बुलेट मैंने आपको इनिशियली बताया था कि बुलेट भी आपका एविडेंस होगा, ठीक है, बट उस बुलेट को हम एचेंट से मार्क करते हैं. एचेंट इज अ काइंड ऑफ केमिकल सब्सटेंस, ओके, यूजुअली जो है हम उसको प्रिजर्व करते हैं. Basically we use it into different procedure and different kind of agent and bonds we have into medical sciences. So we use these agents for marking, okay. All evidence collected should be mentioned. So in case of list, whatever the evidence we collect, whether we are collecting the clothes, we are collecting the blood stains, or body swabs, everything will be marked. In cases of suspected poisoning, the following articles should be preserved and ensured, and they are followed by followed forwarded for the your this forensic examinations. Okay, so gastric lavage means gastric lavage. If I talk about, whenever you have seen ना कि patient अगर over poisoning करके आता है और poison drink करने के बाद first when it reaches to the medical department, what we used to do, we used to make the patient to gag or empty the stomach. So what happens directly when we are emptying the stomach? What happens? Whatever the poison is into that food or any substance, it will directly come out of the body. Okay, so the your sputum or whatever you vomited out, that content, the gastric lavage content or the gastric content or vomitus or solid clothes, that will be your this evidence. Okay, so we will collect it into the piece of, I can say, into a bottle or into that particular container, and we send it for the further examination into the forensic department, and they will check you what kind of poison given by what source, through which he mixed into the food or whatever method, and from where he consumed all these things. So that will becoming the evidence part. Okay. Next is your blood, urine, and other relevant body fluids, depending upon the poison ingested. So, what kind of poison that person is ingesting and which source, basically. So, from there, we used to, depending upon the poison, we all these things will be also considered as the evidence. Okay? In case of burn and carbon monoxide or mono poisoning, the following articles should be preserved in seal envelopes. The articles solid with inflammable substances. So, for example, आपका burn cases होता है, तो आपके जो भी फ्लेमेबल सब्सटेंस बॉडी पे हैं, क्लोथ पे हैं, हम उनको प्रिजर्व करते हैं. ठीक है. So these are the basic. Okay. So guidelines for the preservation of the medical documents, how we are going to preserve this. So medical documents should be considered as confirmed record and should be stored under the safe custody that I already explained you. Avoiding tampering. Okay. So we need to, keep into such a manner so nobody should tamper or alter those documents. Tampering means doing any kind of change or, misrepresentation or any kind of fraud indulgence or, you know, alteration of that document, I can say in general. Okay. So the medical record must be through and completed and should document each and every significant event in course of care of the patient. I told you, for example, I'm doing one ultrasound on first day, and then on third day I'm doing second ultrasound. So I have to record every piece of that ultrasound or every piece of that a treatment procedure or care procedure I'm giving to my patient. Okay, what is the first scenario when he came and meet during that, what is the exact condition, and after 2 days or 3 days, what is the exact condition. Okay, so I should record each and everything, whether it includes any kind of blood investigation, whether it includes any kind of ultrasonic, CT, MRI, X-ray, whatever may be. Okay, so all the documents, including the case sheets, X-rays, investigation report, will be preserved meticulously in the medical record section and identify indefinitely hand over to the concerned authorities, the police investigating officer, the court or court of inquiry. All these three areas we have to hand over these documents whenever it is required, and prompt attention and correct. So that document should be, correct. Why it should be correct? Because, the legal department or, their decision is depending upon these documents. So it is our moral ethics. If I say we need to preserve the real picture in front of courtroom. Okay. So the original copies of all medical legal documents will be produced whenever asked in the court of law. So what happens usually, what is the procedure? The documents will be, kept into your medical record section. Whenever, any person from courtroom they ask, we need to create the original sets of documents, taking the proper signature who is going to, take that document from us, and when he or she is returning back those documents to that particular medical record department. Okay. And whenever we are handovering this original documents to them, we need to keep a separate copy, like Xerox copy, you can say, or B copy or carbon copy of those documents into our record system. Okay. So all original copies and certificates report issued by the medical legal purpose to be preserved till the finalization of cases. Okay. So that person or the police department or concerned department will take the records from the hospital. Once the treatment is done, or after the treatment, we issue that to the court. And once, they have done their hearing and they need to return back until and unless this case is not finalized. Okay. So we need to preserve that document till the finalization of a decision. Okay. Whether it takes 1 year or 10 years, we need to preserve all these documents. So maximum 20 years where we need to preserve all NLC documents. Okay. So the commandant or CEO of the hospital will ensure that document will kept into the custody of appropriate officer till the case is finally done or cleared by the police or judicial authorities. In case of units and other hospital units of other than hospital. Okay. So what happens? See, whatever may be the commandant or CEO of, the chief officer of that hospital, he will ensure that is the prime concern of the medical superintendent of that hospital, or, the chief, I can say chief of that chief officer, I can say a chief doctor over there, what CMO, chief medical officer is over there. That is a prime concern of your CMO or the medical superintendent, who will be taking care of that, who is the most responsible person, and that in whose custody we can keep these documents, and that will be appropriately safe till the case that finally we get a final verdict from the court, or that person will get a final verdict from the court. Until that case is not clear. Okay. So now, subpoena is what? Subpoena or courtroom summons. What is that? Okay. So subpoena is WRTA. It is issued by the government agency, most oftenly the court, to compile the testimony by the witness or production of the evidence under the penalty for failures. Okay. These are two common types of subpoenas which we usually see. Subpoenas or ad testificandum is where basically what happens. Subpoena if I talk about, or court summon if I talk about, basically ये आपका गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटीज आपको इश्यू करती हैं. ओके. एंड what happens, we when they give issue that subpoena, so testifying means the doctor at service or the person who witnessed this or produces this, during, for example, if the forensic department or the forensic team is there, they will be considered as, and they have to come and testify the documents. Yes, we have prepared this, we have done this kind if needed. Okay. In case of needed, so they have to come and witness whatever the things has been done. Okay. So ordered a person to testify before ordering authority or face punishment. Okay, subpoena can also request testimony to be produced by phone or in person. Okay, so basically the orders of a person, basically if I talk about is to testify before ordering authorities of face punishment. Okay, the subpoena can also request the testimony to be produced by phone or in person. Okay, so how you can do that, testify that person or doing this, so you will basically check whatever the documents we provide, to the courtroom. They also check that, okay, if it is a audio or if it is a video provided by phone or anything, they cross verify through different agencies and they get a collected, uh, written consent or information from that particular. Yes, this audio is correct. There is no forge into that or fraud is done into that. So these all are the part of your subpoena. Okay, and so who may be issue a subpoena? If I talk about the most, in most of the incidences, a subpoena can be issued by a signed attorney on the behalf of court, in which the court is authorized to practice the law. If the subpoena is higher level government officer or a governing agency, it must be signed by the administrative law judge. Okay. So for example, basically कौन आपको ये सपोनिया और टेस्टिमनी के लिए आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए बुला सकता है? तो बेसिकली यूजुअली जो लॉ कोर्ट में जो भी आपका अटेंडिंग जज होगा, वो आपको टेस्टिमनी के लिए बुला सकता है. If it is related to the higher governing bodies, so जो भी attending administrative law judge होगा, he will issue the letter or document. Okay. So how the subpoena is served? Subpoena is a typical request by the attorney and issued by a court clerk and notary publication or justice peace. Once the subpoena is issued, it may be served on an individual in any of the following cases: hand delivered, also known as personal delivery method, email, uh, or receipt acknowledged or certified mail to the last known address. Whatever the address, email address is, on that basis, they can last known email address. On that basis, can be how to respond to subpoena. First thing you should do if you receive the subpoena is not to ignore it. आपको जब भी कोई subpoena आता है, आप पैनिक होकर उसको इग्नोर नहीं करेंगे. Because it is a part of your court legal procedure. And failure to respond to subpoena is considered as a contempt of a court in most cases. So, if you are not able to, respond that, if you don't respond that subpoena, you will be considered as a default or you are doing, I can say what disrespect to the court of law. Okay, so the next step is to read through the subpoena to determine what is being requested and who is being asked to appear. Okay, so आपको next क्या करना है कि once you receive that subpoena, we need to read that document. Okay, to whoever it is, maybe hospital को receive हुआ, maybe particular doctor को receive हुआ. Usually subpoena hospitals को ही आता है. Okay, and they will ask कि clarify करने के लिए documents को, if they feel there is a need, they will ask कि we need a doctor from forensic department who has made this report, or we need a treating doctor. So that person has to be appear on the mentioned date into the courtroom. Okay. Lastly, you should look who is request and inform for what purpose. So they have written over there into that particular issuing notice, they've written everything very clearly, who they want, for what purpose they want. So you adequately prepared a testimony required to give trial or other proceedings. Okay. तो आपका जब भी ट्रायल कोर्ट रूम होगा, you need to go and आपको जाके whatever you need to be at hearing date, you have to be appear and uh, you know on the particular dates. If you don't appear, you have to give the potential penalties and other consequences issued by the law. Okay, the person who received a subpoena should otherwise consult with the law department or any lawyer. What is the procedure, how should I do if you are feeling panic. Okay, So, penalties, if because of subpoena or the court ordered command, a person who fails to obey, in case of appeal, obey, you don't appear into the trial. Okay, so for example, if you're outside uh, due to XYZ factors, so you can send your, mail to that particular lawyer, concerned lawyer, or, okay, I'm out of station due to XYZ factor. Whenever I'll come, so it will be considered. But if you don't pre-informed any reason to your courtroom, or you don't have any valid reason to, present into the in relation to court, whenever the hearing is there, and you don't inform why you're not present for that testimony or for that trial case. So what happens, the court will consider you also as a fault part. You will be also considered as a fault part. And in order to, if you fail to obey those, things, or appear into the courtroom, you will be considered as a criminal contempt. Okay, this your activity will consider as a criminal contempt. And what happens, and if so if you fail to provide the documents or the newspaper or your presence into the courtroom, you have to follow the laws and judicial process. Okay, so usually, punishment will be there, generally referred to the disruptive conduct or disrespectful behavior at court. Okay, and the criminal contempt also include the refusal to turn over the documents and other data. So, for example, they ask for certain data or certain documents, and being a doctor or being a treating officer or being a part of hospital, you are not providing, you will be doing the disrespectful to the court, and you will be considered as for this misbehavior, you will be charged certain penalties, and action will be taken against the court to the particular organization. Okay, so therefore the information must be found into the medical report is more important, and evidence into the court to prove the cases as mentioned above. Okay, so I told you every during the treatment, for example, every swab, every a serum, or I can say blood content or blood stains, everything is very important in these kind of emergency cases, and they will become the evidence for taking the decision. So the professional who come across the patient care and treatment, including the hospital administration, should have alert in all aspects regarding the law. Okay, so they have a good knowledge and all those things. See what all things they, and they should be at very alert part. Okay, Eh, it is latest amendment issues from time to time, and so that you can record all necessary information into the medical record. So that person or the doctor, they have updation. Whoever is recording that medical legal record, they have updated information. Ki what is current scenario, what all things we need to record whenever we are discussing about this medical record cases, because every small things on the patient body or on their clothes or their belongings will become evidence at a times in these cases. Okay, so that's why we need to inform everything and we need to record everything. Okay, whenever it comes to the medical legal cases. Okay, any doubt, any queries related to the particular lecture?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, I have ended this medical legal cases. I just go through the list of basically medical legal cases. I have explained every procedure, why it is important, why we need to record everything, and how we have to proceed. Okay, so everything will be whenever you feel suspected that this is a medical legal case. Just take a history. Meanwhile, you inform the this concerned police station, nearby police station, before doing the treatment. Okay, because when you start the treatment and then you inform, it will be not useful because you altered the evidences. So you need to pre-inform and then start. Once the police department comes and they see it, you explained and they found that the case is serious, in that scenario, you can immediately start the case. Okay, they will record everything on a very frequent basis, and After that, you can start the treatment. Okay. So this is the basic thing related to your medical legal cases. Just go through the whole of this. If you found any doubt or any queries, we can discuss on later. Okay. So I'm ending this lecture now.